Sup dudes, so in this video I'm going to teach you guys how to use Combustion to burst effectively and consistently in the arenas. So we all know that Combustion is the scary big burst major offensive cooldown that fire mages have in their toolkit to just global people, delete them out of the game in a matter of seconds. It's a very scary cooldown if you don't know how to respond to it correctly, but it's important to note that although our burst is crazy, our sustained damage outside of combustion is very, very weak. So when our combustion isn't up, we're kind of just sitting there spamming fireballs and spamming polys to peel for our teammates, especially when you're fighting a melee cleave, for example, that's constantly just tunneling you down and chunking your HP. It's very important that you maximize your combustion goes when you actually do have it to force as many defensive cooldowns from the enemy team as possible. So in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to maximize those combust goes and what to do when you don't have combustion up. So as we get into the video, I'm going to start very slow, make it very beginner friendly, go over the basics first, and then as we progress further into the video, I'm going to go over some of the more nuanced details that you have to be aware of as you progress further into the ladder, because obviously the better players you fight, the more prepared they're going to be to shut down your combustion goes. So I'm going to go over the more advanced stuff a little later, but first of all, I'm going to teach you how to burst correctly with combustion. So one of the reasons combustion is so strong this expansion is all the damage modifiers we're given. Combustion alone actually wasn't that bursty last expansion, or at least last season when I played. It's like almost twice as strong now because of things like Infernal Cascade, which is the potency conduit that we use. It makes it so when you do combust, every time you fire blast, or not every time, but when you have combustion up, you can fire blast, which gives you extra damage, which stacks up to 2 times. So this is something I track with a weak aura. This is something that you want to have up as much as possible when you are combusting. So right here, it is nerfed in the arena by like 33% or something like that. So it's not as good. It got nerfed very recently. It's still one of our strongest potency conduits, along with controlled destruction for more flat pyroblast damage. Along with that, we are using Rune of Power, which now, with the Shadowlands changes, it drops on the floor instantly when you combust rather than you having to cast it. And then you have a charge outside of Combust too. So it's not actually 40% increased damage in PvP, it's 30%. But that, along with Infernal Cascade, adds a big, juicy damage modifier. So generally, in terms of build, this is how I play. This is my go-to spec for just playing a regular matchup. I have been experimenting more with Kindling, especially after the Pyrokinesis nerfs. But Meteor does a lot of damage if you can hit it on a single target. It's very important to keep in mind that Meteor is an AoE ability, so it does split evenly on targets. So let's say if the Meteor was to hit 10k single target, but there was 2 targets stacked up, it hit for 5k each. So as you always want to try to hit the Meteor on one person if you wanted to do the most amount of damage. So in terms of the damage rotation, you can actually pop combustion after you meteor and the meteor will still crit. You'll notice I'll meteor then I combust. The reason I do this is because the later you combust, the less time you give your enemies to actually react to the burst damage. I mean, obviously, if you're popping a meteor, you're probably going to combust with it anyways, but tightening up that burst rotation will allow for more damage in a shorter amount of time, with combustion being up as late as possible, if that makes sense. People are saying that if you combust after you meteor, that the meteor is not going to crit, but that's just not true. As long as you combustion before the meteor animation shows up in the air, then it will still crit. So first things first, you want to pop your meteor and then combust, and then also fire blast 2 times before the meteor connects to the ground. So you'll notice right here, this is my Infernal Cascade weak aura. It shows my stacks of Infernal Cascade and the timer around it. So I have 2 stacks here before the meteor actually connects. Then the meteor chunks. And after the meteor chunks, I'll pop a Phoenix Flames and then Pyroblast. And then Fire Blast again before the Infernal Cascade drops off to refresh it. Pyroblast again, then Phoenix Flames again, then Pyroblast again, then Fire Blast again, then Parallax, Phoenix Flames, Parablast. The reason I like to Fire Blast twice, then Parallax, then Phoenix Flames Parablast rather than Fire Blasting is because then I can keep the Infernal Cascade proc up as long as possible. The only time where this would be bad is if there's a CC target near your kill target, like let's say the healer is sheeped by him. You can't Phoenix Flames because the Phoenix Flames will AoE, splash, and break the poly. So in that case, you're just going to be forced to Fire Blast again. But if you're able to get away with popping Phoenix Flames and there's no one around that kill target, this is the most efficient way to maximize your burst throughout the entire combustion. So sometimes when you're bursting, it's not always going to be perfect, right? Like sometimes you're going to be lacking a Fire Blast stack, for example, whether it be because you mismanaged it or you had to Fire Blast something like a Grounding Totem or a War Banner or a Warrior Reflect. You obviously have to take those off, right? So not always will everything be perfect, but making sure you're managing your Fire Blast stacks correctly, like pooling them before burst go, is really important. That's probably a mistake that a lot of beginner Fire Mages make. Also, if you are a Venthyr Fire Mage by chance, making sure you throw in a Mirrors of Torment cast before your go so you can refund Fire Blast stacks as you're bursting, allows you to keep those Infernal Cascades up even if you're lacking a stack, and just have bigger burst. So casting of Mirrors, it gives you 3 stacks of debuff on the enemy target. Every stack consumed out of the 3 gives you 6 seconds of Fire Blast back, which is really handy. Also, sometimes starting your burst off with the heating up already is very beneficial because then it allows you to get a pyro in as the meteor connects, and you can still double Infernal Cascade it. So, for example, here I have my heating up proc, as you can see. Then I'm gonna meteor, combust, Fire Blast, and then I already have a Pyroblast proc instantly before my meteor connects. So then I can Pyroblast, then Fire Blast to get the double Infernal Cascade for the meteor. So essentially, I'm just getting a free Pyroblast in a little sooner. And then as you're doing the regular rotation, you can sometimes maybe even cast a Tinder Fireball if you have a proc for it. I have a Weak Aura right here for my Tinder Fireball, just allowing me to be aware of it easier. I'll leave a link to the Tinder Weak Aura in the description below if you're interested. And then obviously that's going to guarantee crit. You can like quote unquote shatter it, Fireball Pyro for a big chunk damage too. Okay, so now that you know how to burst with Combustion, what do you do outside of Combustion is the main question, right? So after you use your Combustion, this is where Pyrokinesis, the PvP talent, comes in handy. So every time you successfully cast a Fireball on a target, it reduces the Combustion cooldown by 3 seconds. So this used to be 5 seconds. It did get nerfed recently, but you know, it is what it is. So outside of your Combustion, you want to be getting as many Fireballs out as possible. Even though Fireball does little to no damage, it's allowing you to farm Combustion back, making it so the time in between your big goes gets shorter and shorter. So let's say if the enemy team responds with like an AMZ and a Trinket one go, you want to obviously force their Trinket Link next go, for example, right? The more often you can have Combust back, the more likely you are to find the enemy team with no defensive cooldowns left, right? So getting as many Fireballs in between setups is very important. But also, if you just stand there and spam Fireballs and don't do anything else, you're obviously just going to die, right? You got to peel for yourself and your teammates. So that's when you're pretty much juggling polymorphs on off targets, sometimes on the kill target to relieve pressure, depending on what comp you're fighting and what comp you're playing. And then squeezing in those Fireballs here and there when you can. Along with that, you can choose to play Kindling, which makes it so that every time your Fireball, Pyroblast, Fire Blast, and Phoenix Flames crit, it reduces the Combustion cooldown by another 1.5 seconds. This used to be only 1 second in BFA, but I believe it got buffed in Shadowlands to 1.5. This synergizes really well with Firestarter, because Firestarter makes it so that your Fireball and Pyroblast are guaranteed crits on targets above 90% HP, along with Tinder having that extra fast cast Fireball every 8 seconds if you're not casting it, allowing you to squeeze in like a quicker Fireball. These three synergize really well together. A lot of times if you're playing a setup based comp like FMP or RMP, the kill target is full HP outside of goes anyways, so you can just farm your bust back. Like for example, let's say, you know, I bust, use my burst, whatever, And then I don't have Combust now. I can try to like sheep the kill target because our go is over, and then maybe the off target's gonna be full HP, the second DPS, and I can like give it a nice fireball, Pyroblast Shatter. And then that'll chunk my Combust cooldown by quite a bit too, so. You're either bursting with Combust with CC on the healer, or you're farming it back and peeling for your teammates. So that's what I like to call technically the burst phase, or the farming phase, or the peeling phase. One thing I forgot to mention was that I do like to take Kindling in situations where Meteor loses value. So I mentioned earlier that Meteor damage splits and can be soaked. So in situations where targets are stacked up a lot, like when you're fighting Cleaves, for example, the two Cleaves are always together for the most part. If you're fighting a jungle Cleave where there's a lot of pets that can soak Meteor damage, yeah, you're just not going to get that juicy, chunky Meteor that you want to. So you might as well just play Kindling and get faster combustions, right? So yeah, lately I've been experimenting against Cleaves. I like it a lot. Obviously, you know, you're losing out on the Meteor damage, but you're losing value anyways, so it's whatever. And then sometimes against jungles, they have an ability called Roar Sacrifice to be immune to crits every minute. Sometimes if you have a lot of fireball uptime with Kindling, Pyrokinesis, and Firestarter, then you're able to farm Combustion back before they get Roar Sacrifice back to find those windows of opportunity to get those kills. So it's pretty nice. I would recommend experimenting with it a little. Alright, so now that you know how to combust and what to do outside of combusts, I'm going to give a couple of in-game examples to give you a better idea of how it really plays out. So here I'm playing FMP with a Holy Priest, which brings that extra Chastise stun for better cross CC, and we're fighting a Turbo Cleave here. In this matchup, I like to kill the Enhanced Shaman. So in the opener, what we're going to do is we're going to open the Shaman with a Rake Stun from the Feral. I'm going to DB the Pally into a Sheep, and we're going to Chastise Stun the Warrior into an MC. So that allows us to triple CC every target, and then I can combust with my Meteor. Here I'm actually playing Meteor. This was a little bit before I started experimenting with Kindling, so ignore that fact. But yeah, let's see how this plays out. So I'm going to slow it down. I get in position, so I tell my partners that I'm ready to go. So I do a 3, 2, 1 countdown. Right here, I DB the Pally. We Rake Stun the Shaman, and we Chastise the Warrior. As you can see, they are triple CC'd. That allows me to free cast a Polymorph on the enemy healer without having to worry about Shear, Pummel, Grounding Totem, War Banner, AoE Reflect from the Legendary or Overwatch talent. So I can then cast a Polymorph. If they want to stop me, they have to commit a Trinket, which is fine for me, right? So if we force a Trinket, that's what we want. We want to force out as many Trinkets and defensive cooldowns as possible from one Combustion. Once again, I always talk about this, but you always want to try to force as many defensive cooldowns as while using as little offensive cooldowns as possible, which will eventually put you ahead in the game. So I land a Sheep here. I drop the Meteor. I combust. This forces the Warrior to actually Trinket the MC, because he was chastised into an MC, to come over, leap to me, and fear me to peel my Combust. We also force Grounding Totem out of that Rake Stun from the Shaman and his Astral Wall. So we force 3 different cooldowns here pretty much for them to peel the Combust. If we didn't have this perfect triple cross here, the Warrior wouldn't have had to Trinket. He would have just charged and feared me. Maybe save the Shaman's wall, for example, even. The Shaman might have not even had the wall there if this Warrior perfectly peeled me without even having to Trinket. So yeah, this is just an example. You always want to try to have triple CC, if not at least double CC before you're combusting. Alright, so here's another example of a mid-game setup. So this is not an opener. But here, as you can see, the enemy monk has no defensive cooldowns left, no Trinket, no Karma, no Diffuse. He also has no wall, I'm pretty sure. But the Pally has Trinket and Bubble and Ultimate Sacrifice. So if we get a clean go here with cross on triple targets, we're going to be able to force that Trinket sack. So let's see what happens. I'm already sheeping the Priest, so he's already on DR. But I notice that the clone DR is falling off the Priest, so I communicate to my Druid to go clone the Priest as we land a Hajj on the Paladin, which I can Ring of Frost off. We land the clone on the Priest. I land the Ring on the Pally. As you can see, perfect cross, triple CC. This is exactly what you want before you combust. Once again, if we didn't cross the Priest here, he might have just silenced me on my combust. Even if my Paladin dispels me, he might have instantly hoarded off of the dispel to peel my combustion go. Or even worse, I don't have any buffs right now, so if I combust, he would instantly purge it in the free global. In this instance, it'd be smart of me to rebuff first, but sometimes I lack the awareness to do so. So making sure we have this triple cross is so important, right? So as soon as I notice I actually land the ring here and we have a clone on Priest, then I'm going to drop a meteor, pop my combustion. Monk has nothing left but the Paladin trinkets and ultimate sacrifices to save his monk. But this is good. We're forcing defensive cooldowns. This is what we want, right? And then outside of this, now I'm going to just try to go back to farming my combustion. Obviously, peeling as well. I'm going to pop my wall here and start spam sheeping the monk because he has sack on him. Reduce their pressure and try to reset. So earlier I talked about classes, specific classes that can purge off your combustion. But one of your worst enemies, ironically, is other mages, because mages have a PvP talent called Kleptomaniac, which they can purge all your buffs and steal all of them in one button, but it's on a 30-second cooldown. So it's very smart to track the enemy Klepto cooldown like I do right here. So then I can see when I can freely combust and when I can't. And if they do have Klepto off CD, it's super important to either cross that target with a sheep, or if you're going him, making sure he's stunned with no trinket ideally. If he has trinket, then he'll probably trinket Klepto your bust. So yeah, making sure you're crossing the mage before you're combusting is super important. Otherwise, all they'll do is Klepto your combust off immediately and then cancel it off with a cancelaura macro. I'll leave the code to the correct spell ID for the Omnibar if you want that, because the default Klepto on the Omnibar is not correct. I'll also leave the cancelaura macros for combustion in the description below if you're interested in that. So as you can see here, we're fighting a WMP as an FMP. The enemy mage combusts here, and I'm able to just instantly yoink the combust and cancel it. It happens so fast, making it so he gets 0 value out of it. Conversely, you know, when I combust, I have to be mindful of that, because the exact same thing could happen to me. Like right here, the priest has no death, so I'm going to commit a poly here. As you can see, I'm tracking death near my cast bar. The enemy mage is stunned, so I'm looking to get a combust go here. He's actually outside of the dome. So I get the sheep. I combust kind of late though, as the stun is ending on the mage, which lets the enemy mage Klepto me immediately. As you can see, Klepto's on my buffs, and I get very little value from the combustion. And here the warrior stormbolts to peel me. I trinket to try to commit, but we ultimately don't force very much from this go because of it. So I'm going to skip forward a little bit and show another example of a really bad combustion. Right here, my Feral double stuns the mage and the priest. I try to Ring of Frost off of the bash, which the warrior war banners to half it. I then get a re. We do force PS here. My priest also lands a fear off my half poly, so I think, oh, maybe I can commit a bust here. I try to CS his poly, but he actually jukes me. One thing you can do to counter Klepto is lock them on Arcane. So I always try to, if I can, lock them on Polymorph or Rune of Power or Radiant Spark if they're Kyrian, because it's all on Arcane tree. And then they're locked out for 6 seconds. And then while they're locked out on Arcane, they can't Klepto you. They can't blink away to line of sight you. They can't counterspell you or anything. So I always try to CS it, but I actually get juked here. But I see how low he is, 35%, and the priest is in a short fear. So I just commit the combust, and then he insta-Kleptos it, as you can see. So that was definitely not worth it. So don't be like me. Make sure you actually lock the mage on Arcane before you combust, or wait till they waste Klepto. But usually against good mages, they're not going to be wasting Klepto like that. I'm going to skip forward a little bit in this matchup again. I farm Combust back. And this time, I'm going to try to be a little bit more patient, make sure we actually have a stun on the mage with no trinket before I combust, or we lock him on Arcane. So right here, my Feral Druid stuns the mage, and as you can see right here, he's playing Human Rally, and his human is on cooldown, so I can stun into this. And I also see that my priest is going to be pushing in for a fear, so I actually just sheep the warrior and commit my combustion, and my priest gets a door fear, and gets a mind games on the mage. So this is a much better go. I was able to get a lot more value from this combustion than any of the other combusts I've had this game. And ultimately, we force cauterize this setup. This is quite a long game, actually. As you can see, both priests are like going here. My Feral solos the mage's ice block with his raw damage. Dampening is starting to kick in. Right here, my combustion is back up. The priest has no trinket. The mage has no trinket. No block either. Right here, my Feral Druid kicks the Mage on Polymorph right here. So he's locked on Arcane, exactly what I was talking about earlier. I have Combustion here. He gets a short stun, and I end up just combusting this. And I know like the enemy priest is and the Mage is locked out, so he can't Klepto me. He Kleptos me really late, but by then he's dead anyways. So this is a prime example of bad combustions and good combustions in one game. So hopefully you learned a thing or two here. So the longer the game goes on and the deeper and dampening you are, the scarier it becomes to cast Polymorph in a Mage Mirror matchup. Because you know if the enemy Mage has Combustion and he locks you, you're donezo, right? So you always have to be extra careful. The deeper into dampening you get, you really don't want to get locked on Arcane. I mentioned earlier, if you're locked on Arcane, you can't blink, you can't Klepto, you can't CS, but you also can't alter. So you pretty much don't have any defenses except Cop Block. But if you don't have Cop Block, you're going to die. So you got to be very, very careful. In this matchup, we're very deep into dampening. The enemy priest is very close to ooming, and they have pretty much no defensive left. And I communicate to my teammates that if I lock Arcane, I'm going to combust and finish off the game.
I'm in trouble. Yes, boss. I cut the. Oh, nice clone. You're insane. My games.
They're all CC. Kill the rogue.
I cut the mage. Sheeping mage.
I kept Mage on the stealth. Coney Priest. He's gone.
If I lock Arcane, I bust. I bust.
Coney Priest off this.
Bust. So much damage. We win.
Yeah, going.
Seed. I can't. I'm kidneyed. It's all you. I'm kidneyed.
I'm taking everything.
Yes, kill through. It dies, guys.
Holy shit.
Alright guys, that concludes the commentary portion of the video. Hopefully you guys were able to learn a thing or two. If you guys have any further questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I'll always try to get to them. But yeah, I'm going to leave you guys with one last game. I want you guys to try to analyze it on a deep level. Try to see how I combust, when I combust, how I communicate my goes, and then what I'm doing outside of my combustions. Also, you'll notice the white blob that's moving around the screen. That's my eye tracker, so you can see where my awareness is at all times throughout the game. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Yeah, sprint me opener, and then
Alright.
I'll DBDK you double stun again. Yeah, stun Shaman first again. If I double, you don't need to stun Shaman,
You like Shaman first?
I like it, yes, I like it.
Okay,
yeah.
sure.
Wait, I might double. Wait, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, double, go. Just stun monk. No, dude.
Oh, I'm so bad, man. I'm actually through the game.
Okay, I'm trying to I'll sheep it. I busted. Push it. Karma. AMZ. He didn't defuse, only... Okay. It was only Karma.
I tried to make
It's fine.
It was AMZ, so I have to run. Freed.
That in one.
Fighting. I need to kite the delirium, Heartstop or
Keep getting spammed.
He didn't. The Windwalker did not burst there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't even sweep yet.
Yeah, I wasted Nova, man. I'll ring the pet so if he does, it's fine. I'm swept.
Yeah, dodge sweep.
Okay. I'll meld after this. It's cap.
When DK, juke the share.
Okay. I bust in 40. Can we double and go?
Walker
No?
on this heal.
Okay,
I
nice.
didn't get it.
Can we double and go? I'll shoot DK.
I have to get
I
combos.
might door sheep. Sheeping? No, he's gonna line.
He's vortex over here. Oh wait, what?
Sorry, I thought I was gonna.
He said he was gonna go CC the healer. That's why I just stunned the guy.
Yeah, nah.
Sorry,
it was so far. The door was not enough. Like it wasn't. I bust next go though. It's fine.
He dragons us randomly.
Dragon.
Oh, big. It's everything.
DB. Yeah. I'm trying to ring. I'm trying to ring. I meld all the pets off me. I'm ringing. I alter.
DK got kicked by everyone.
Alter. Oh shit, that was bad.
He caps me. I'm just on the monk, bro, or you're gonna die.
Sure. I ring the pets.
Right now.
I bust now. Okay.
Yeah.
Should be DK for now.
There's no zone.
Okay, never mind.
I can double stun. No, I cannot actually. Not forever.
Yeah, this. Okay. I need to get out of there then. Nice damn. Okay, can we
There's
go?
a wall
I need double. Do you have vortex
I
next
don't
go?
have double, bro.
Okay, do you have vortex next go or no?
I have vortex in 20.
Okay. I have door in 10.
Careful,
He has a mirrors tournament on him. He has a mirrors tournament on him. We should go soon. Before he falls off. Before he dispels it.
I'm trying to get healed because he was drinking. I'm like dead.
Okay. So you go. I can sheep soon. Sky
Yeah,
first.
sweet, bro, here it is.
I'll trigger this. I peel it.
Okay,
Triple DB.
you get out
Sheeping
that-
it.
get out of
Sheeping it.
the
I bust this. Go.
Okay.
I bust this. Nice.
He's
Vortex.
Oh, I don't have it in 1 second, man.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
He walled. Next go. I killed him. I don't know.
Okay.
Alright, I have
I
one
wish I had
fine.
vortex.
Round up.
Yeah, that was my bust. That was my
Freedom
bust.
one.
Okay, good, good, good,
Yeah,
good, good.
I got sheared. This is good. This is good.
Should be DK.
I'm stunned here.
I can clutch Shaman early? No, I cannot. I have to club
I'm
monk.
winning on mana
Are
too,
we
by the
stunned
way.
here?
Yeah.
Oh, I fucked up! No,
Oh.
I meant to tab target.
It's
He's
fine,
on
it's
TR
fine, it's fine,
forever.
it's fine. Just wait, just wait.
Okay,
It's okay, it's okay, it's
After
okay.
that, I'll go in and blind, okay?
Yeah, you
Shaman's
have blind
like-
and Hajj, right?
Shaman's like-
Okay, okay, good, good, good.
Yeah, flashcraft, dude.
Farming buzz, farming buzz.
He has
It's fine.
CC immunity for 4 now.
It's working out. Yeah, yeah, I'm watching it.
I,
Ready?
Okay, you ready?
Ready? Me,
Yeah, I'm going, I'm going. Oh, he parried, great.
oh,
It's fine,
I'm
though, it
reading.
doesn't matter.
Watch my cast bar. Watch my cast bar. Watch my cast bar. Watch my. I get.
Let's win the game.
Yeah, he's gonna
Yeah,
trick it
I
link
can
if anything.
big bite him in a sec.
Watch my
I
cast
hear
bar.
it.
Watch my
Hear it.
cast bar. I'm doing more. I do more. One more. He has no kick. And then it's you now. Okay, it's after this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got it.
Man, that's
Nice,
so
nice.
it.
Chase.
Big
I'm
damage.
trying, bro.
I locked him. Kill. I'll DBDR.
Karma.
Kill.
That's
Okay,
important that we
We need
got
to get
that
out. We need
there,
to get
guys.
out. We need to get out. Shipping DK.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
out.
just ringing it
I have
anymore.
bust. I have bust now. He has only diffuse.
Might need to bot me space or hit or Hansol.
Sure.
Because they want to go. Oh, here it is. I'm in so much
Nice
trouble.
side.
Yeah, I have no
Just
trinket.
saying.
No trinket. It's you. Space. It's your
Okay,
trade.
okay.
It's your trade.
A skin?
It's your trade. It's your trade.
Small
Okay.
stack, small
Okay.
stack.
Oh, I proc, man.
Oh,
I know.
every
Of
cooldown.
course, they proc you through everything.
Yo, kite through the ring.
I-
Zev.
Yeah. I'm going now.
Shipping DK. Okay, I have bust. Can
Casting
we do a
on you,
double or no? Double or
Walker
no?
first, Come on, Walker.
Yeah.
Got kicked. I can
I'll double
stun.
DB.
No,
Yeah,
not
I'll
for
DB
10, bro.
DB DPS.
Yep.
Okay, good. I can't double
We
stun
need to
for
go.
8, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in
I don't
trouble.
know my
Trouble.
shit.
Block.
Okay, that's at the end of their CDs.
That's early. I mean, Shaman has
I don't
trinket
have my
link.
stuns forever
Monk
because
has
this
trinkets too.
delirium shit or whatever the
Yeah. We need to kite it.
We're
Okay,
still winning.
I can try to door sheep soon. I
I
can
have
try
a
to
bot.
door.
I have a bot.
I'm going for door sheep. I sheep DK.
Okay.
Door. Sheeping. Go. Sheeping. I bust
Yep.
this. Okay, vortex, please. Vortex.
Yeah, I did it.
Trinket links, go through.
Yeah, link,
Diffuse.
link.
Freedom me. Get me out of here.
Yeah, you're good.
We got so much there. Okay. Yeah, Sham has nothing. Monk has trinket. That's it. Listen, Monk has trinket. No karma for 16.
Yeah, I know. I'm stunned.
We can kill through karma.
Yeah.
Do we have a bop? Do we have a bop for karma later?
Yeah.
I think we do.
Okay, so good. We kill through
I don't
then.
have to use the game.
You vortex that go, right?
Yeah, no, I did.
You
I
did.
can go
Okay.
hard fine.
Out there back.
Okay.
Nice. Win. Go.
Do it.
We win. Kill through. Full ring.
Hey.
Kill through.
I've no
It's not even karma.
BDR.
Ah, shit.
You're in here. My whole drop. I can't get it.
DB the fist.
Nice, my hodge.
Am I dead?
Bubble here.
Sheep DK. Juke both kicks.
I
Yeah.
popped
Nice.
that.
That's good.
I hodged you,
Nice. I can sheep half. Kill. I sheep
I
half.
can clone
Okay.
off.
Hey, you clone.
Cloning.
Nice. Chase.
Nice.
I can sheep soon.
I can freedom you in
Hey,
one.
Chase. I can sheep soon. I'm gonna juke shear.
I can kill him.
Juke shear.
They
I'm
have
gonna
it.
bait ground. Baiting
Kill him
ground.
your space.
I'm fucking slamming, dude.
Kill him, bro. Kill him.
Kill.
Kill
Oh,
him.
I couldn't.
I have conk down.
Listen, I have
Can
bust
we
in
move it
20. I
forward?
have bust. We literally win next
Okay,
go.
he has no wall or
They have
anything.
nothing.
Yeah,
DK
They
has
have Tony,
AMC.
bro. They have Tony.
Yeah,
They have
DK has
Tony.
AMZ as well. I have trinket for next go. Listen, we need to go here. I need to door in. I'm dooring
I
in,
call
man.
Shaman for
No.
free, bro.
Okay, I sheep it. Go. Full sheep. Win the fucking game. Stun him.
I can't.
I bust. AMZ. I re.
I'll clone.
Okay.
I freedom you.
Okay, they have nothing now for real.
Yeah, I wings there.
Monk has
Alright, I
the fuse,
really
never mind.
need
Monk
to
has the
go.
fuse.
You're doing it, go, you're
I triggered
dead.
this. I meld. I ring the pets. I'm peeling.
Space could die too.
Peeling insane right now. I sheep decay. I peel everything. I'm ringing the pets. Okay.
you hot
Free
sheep,
me, please.
I can hodge soon.
I'm gonna kill the monk here.
Do it.
He's dead. Really big damage.
Yes.
Hodge.
Finish. I'm sheeping. Full sheep, bro. Full sheep. Win the fucking game.
Freedom you.
You go
freedom
that way.
you.
You go that way.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's
Yeah,
fucking go,
let's
boys.
go.
Oh
baby.
man.
Oh my god.
Dude, that game was looking really fucking rough, boys. I'm not gonna lie. Holy shit.
I think I might call it there because I am fucking fried, bro. Like I'm playing like
LG,
a
bro?
dog dude. Yeah, I'm playing.
Holy shit.
No, it's fine. I was playing so bad earlier. I was fucking up a lot.
Yeah, I just feel mechanically so slow right now. Like
It's fine. It happens. I know the feel. I think you played fine though. I don't know. What did you do bad? Well, I guess you hodged like randomly one time, but that was because you thought that was just miscommunication, right?
yeah, but poor awareness really.
Okay.
Like you know what I mean? Like I should have seen that Zev was on top of the Windwalker, not on top of the Shaman.
It's all good. I'm down to call it. I'm pretty tired anyway. I mean, not after that game, but I will be.
Nice. Let's fucking go.
Nice.
Oh, GG's boys.
Alright,
We're done.
GG's. Yeah, we can call it. Queue tomorrow maybe. You guys
good.
want to queue
I'm down
tomorrow
with it.
earlier?